It's not an easy road with a family member who comes out. Nobody ever said that was easy. You have stuck by us, you have loved us, you have made us your own, and tonight, you're getting 200 more gay brothers and sisters and others. So we sing this song, and it started in the days when there were so few family members and friends that would come and stand by their loved one. So thank you for your support.
Absolutely. Now, looking back in hindsight, guys, do you think, I know the whole goal of this, we want equal protections under the law. Looking back at 2016 to 2020, do you think we are closer to that, Tim?
No, we are absolutely not. No, but I will say that most of what's happened over the 4 years has been not change of laws against LGBTQ, but executive orders, and those are and will be undone. So it's hard to tell what the actual legislatures think or are doing because they've been occupied with other things. So thank goodness now we get a chance to undo some of that. And interestingly enough, the public doesn't even know, we don't even know all of the damage that's been done at lower levels that we will be living down for a long time.
Absolutely. And the documentary is just so inspirational, and all those people coming together, and the lady that built the quilt that was so symbolic. What is the most powerful story an audience member or a chorus member has come to you guys and said, wow, this helped me come out to mom or dad. You really made me feel included. What's the most powerful, anecdote that came from this project?
And how long is the interview?
As long as you want it to be.
David, start with purple hair.
Sure. We were screening the film in Winston-Salem, and so that's North Carolina, right? Sorry, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And there was a young girl in the audience. She was probably in her very early 20s, and she was there with her mom and some friends. And then at the end of the film, during the Q&A, she was like, I would like to share my story with you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, please. And she said that she was going to school and living in New York when the film came out during the Tribeca Film Festival, and she went to see it. And literally after she left the film, she understood that she needed to go back home, and she started an activist group in Winston-Salem and moved back to her hometown because she understood that that's where her energy needed to be spent, and really found a purpose in her life, And then another story in Davie, Florida, this man who was a singer of the, I think, Fort Lauderdale Gay Men's Chorus or something like that. He was, he's probably into his mid to late 60s. He was crying, and then he came to talk to me, and he said that he hadn't spoken to his immediate family in over 30 years, and that he was going to call them the next day, inspired by Jimmy's story. So there's things like that, or like I was saying the other day, and Tim has 100 more. I'll just say one last one. I was talking to this person who's very dear to me, who was telling me about her friend from Malaysia who had just sought refuge in America because he was gay, and you can't be openly gay there. And he ended up seeing the film at our Los Angeles premiere. And immediately after the film, he went on Instagram and came out to everyone. It was the first time he publicly came out, and he's a pretty prominent person in Malaysia. So it was a really powerful thing for the community, and gave a lot of hope for people there as well. So those are kind of, some of the highlights, but I'll let Tim kind of share his own stories.
We didn't think we were courageous. That never like, wow, look how courageous we are. We had a huge security team. So, that was fine. And then we found out later that indeed people see this as courage and breaking walls and building bridges. Since you brought up Jimmy and we want to discuss him anyway, the Christmas after the tour, Jimmy went home they actually reconciled. He went home for the holidays, which was he hadn't done in years and years and years. Jimmy's health continued to decline, and he visited several occasions, maybe many occasions. This last February, he called and said, I'm going to go to hospice. I'm sure he called David as well. And I'm going to go to hospice at home here in Santa Rosa, California. And I went up to visit him, and he moved home for one day and decided, no, I'm going to go home, my real home. And he went home to his family. His father then passed away, and within weeks, Jimmy had died. He would not have gone home ever if it weren't for this tour. And so, yeah, it's those stories just keep coming.
Wow. And it's touched so many.
I've got the class read that proved you care, and it still looks the same as when you gave it, dear.
Wow. And it's touched so many lives. And in the film, you kind of talk about people who conflate religion with discrimination. Now, Tim, what do you think the best way to tackle that type of discrimination is, other than, you know, Patsy Cline?
Right. Well, she does break some barriers in the film, which your listeners and viewers will love so much. What breaks down discrimination? I think it's knowing somebody. It's a personal touch. It's knowledge. And we used to say in the first pandemic that we went through, the AIDS pandemic, people would die as he was 32 years old and died of natural causes. No, he died of AIDS, and people wouldn't say it out loud. And we believed in those days that if somebody said, I don't know anybody with AIDS, then they can shut it out. It's the same thing with COVID. There are 300,000 people who have died. But if you don't know one or know it, then you just can shut it out. And so it's knowledge and it's personal experience. And so I am not unique in the Harvey Milk genre of come out. That's the only way really to avoid discrimination, is be open and honest and loving, and people will accept that for the most part.
Yep, and own yourself. Now, were you surprised about how receptive the South was to embrace you guys, the chorus?
Yes. I'm from the South. I think I've even mentioned in the film, I knew that people were going to love the music, especially since we were singing, and we took the gospel choir, which was amazing.
Right.
We were singing their language. And so we did that purposely. We did not go in with, well, I started to say with drag queens, but we actually did. And a lot of them. So the thing about it was choosing the repertoire and understanding the audience, I think. But we were surprised that every place was packed. That surprised us for sure. But it became in the 5 states, the big concerts, people drove hundreds of miles to have this experience. And most of them said, we've never been in a room with that many gays ever. And so yeah, it was thrilling and inspiring, and we were so honored.
And you also talk about, the difference between tolerance, acceptance, and the Southern hospitality. The bless your heart. Oh, we understand you, but we don't want to talk about it. Don't ask, don't tell. But what I really admire about you, Tim, is that you demand celebration for the uniqueness.
Thank
Talk
you.
a little bit more about that.
I didn't know that I did because I conducted the Gay Men's Chorus in Dallas, Texas, the Buckle of the Bible Belt, for 20 years. And we were really good, and we did all the things, and yet we were tolerated. We would get funding up to a point, as long as you don't wave a flag, there's a parameter around which we could exist. And then I moved to San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. I was like, "Ooh, my goodness gracious! Look at this! There's a gay flag on every corner." And I didn't know there was this pall over me in Dallas until it was removed. And so part of the celebration is I want to spread that around. I want people to know what it feels like. And the more empowered you are, the closer you come.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's just such a touching. I mean, and even though like the North Carolina bill didn't pass, I know that that was one of the motivations in going to the Carolinas, was that the bathroom bill, and then that was shot down. But there's still a lot of work to be done. What advice would you give the LGBTQ community and advocates to press forward, to push the envelope forward, and be courageous as you are? You and
David,
David.
you're an ally. Go for it.
Oh, I mean, I feel like, Tim just outed me here. So I'm straight, but I don't consider myself an ally. I truly consider myself part of the community. And I feel like that's really important for people to stop calling themselves allies, because the moment you say you're an ally, you're already othering that community. You're either part of the community and you stand with them, or you don't. And I feel like that's a huge step that people need to start taking, and need to, not just embrace the LGBTQ community, but give them a long, warm hug, and most importantly, be hugged by them, right? Because what you get in return is that much greater. I do think one thing that can be done, and we try to show in the film, and you don't need to, I mean, there are situations where people need to go to, the more liberal coastal states and cities, but try your best to be in your own community and to build onto that queer community, where you come from. Like the South and the Midwest, and the quote unquote red states. They are red states because everyone leaves. And if you're able to stay there, and I know it's not easy, and I'm speaking from a place of privilege, because I haven't gone through that. But there are role models. There are people we met in the South that are not just fighting the good fight. They are living full, beautiful lives, and they are building these thriving queer communities there. And
Yeah, I would say, from personal experience, because I'm gay, really, really gay. I know the fear. I know the fear of being in the closet. In the South and in the Southern Baptist world, I know what it's like to borrow trouble from the future and future trip and go, oh, the worst possible thing could happen. When I came out, all the worst things did happen. And in the ensuing 35 years, I have counseled countless LGBTQ people through what I do. Not one has ever said, I wish I had waited a day longer to come in. Every single one says, dang, even though the hardship, better to rip the Band-Aid off and then let the healing begin than to keep it festering. So my message is, Harvey Milks, come out, people, come out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not enough to be an ally anymore. You have to be an accessory.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great.
I completely agree with that. And guys, I really enjoyed the film. Thank you so much for speaking with me. Gay Chorus Deep South is out on Pluto TV and Logo December 20th. You definitely want to watch this inspirational doc. It's going to touch your hearts. It's going to touch your souls. And it's a wonderful film. Thank you so much, David, for making it. Thank you, Tim, for your courage coming into the South and trying to bust down these doors. I will try to continue your work and make sure that we spread awareness and we are giving those hugs. And again, it's not enough to be an ally. We must be accomplices in this movement.
The only thing different, the only